A lot of neural control, and we need it. We're going to talk a lot about hormones in this section, okay? But it's the nervous system that is really keeping things moving along the digestive tract like they need to be functional, okay? What the hormones do is sort of turn things up or turn things down to adjust for the kind of meal we've had or to adjust for how effective the GI tract is being. The second-to-second changes are happening through neural control. Okay, so we got 100 million neurons, about the same number as we have in the spinal cord, right? So that's the enteric nervous system. Myenteric and submucosal plexuses and their connections make up this system. All right, so the myenteric plexus is in charge of moving things along, right? Of motility, of GI movements. The submucosal plexus is primarily in charge of GI secretion and blood flow. Okay, so they have different roles, but they're going to work together to do those things. The SNS and PSNS, remember, those are central nervous system. Okay, so the central nervous system's effect on the GI tract are through sympathetic and parasympathetic. And they are influencers, not controllers. Okay, so like you can turn it up or turn it down, but it's not like you're controlling the different pieces. Okay, now all of the plexuses not only have output, but they also have sensory, they not only have motor aspects, but they have sensory aspects too. So the 100 million neurons don't just include moving things along, they also include the various detectors and receptor innervation that make it possible for the GI tract to know what it's supposed to do. Okay? So if we look at the connections in a sort of cartoon-like way, right? So here's our submucosal plexus, here's the epithelium that makes the mucosa. Okay, so the sensory input comes from innervation of the epithelium, free nerve endings in the epithelium that then feed in either a short reflex, in other words, the sensory information feeds right in to the enteric system, or a longer reflex where the sensory information goes all the way to the brain, right? So the sympathetic or parasympathetic can do something about it. Okay, so we have joint innervation here. So we have our parasympathetic innervation is mostly preganglionic, okay, because remember the ganglia are in the plexuses, okay? Sympathetic, it's mostly postganglionic because the ganglia are in the abdomen, right? So these are your, I'm trying to think of some names of them. The celiac ganglia, that's what I was trying to get at. The celiac ganglia are all part of this. Now we also see that there are connections between myenteric and submucosal. Okay, so short version is this. We've got two discrete plexuses, but they're heavily interconnected and are connected to both the sympathetic and parasympathetic. So it means that this is our connection between the enteric nervous system and the central nervous system. All right, now there's a bunch of neurotransmitters that are found in the GI tract, but so people are trying to learn about this brain that is the enteric nervous system, but quite frankly, not much is known about their specific function. Instead, we tend to think of GI tract function in terms of hormonal control over the hours to days and nervous system control in the minutes to hours.